Hey, what's going on everyone? Hope you're doing well. Thanks so much for tuning back into the channel. And if you're new here, welcome. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different, and besides the title of the video, how to not train legs with calisthenics, we're going to be doing a leg day and we're going to be doing raw style training. And while I train, I'm going to be answering some questions that I asked on Instagram, and I got a ton of questions and a bunch of people have been asking for a Q&A on the channel, like a little updated one, because I think the last one I did is actually a year ago, this time last year. And yeah, I wanted to do one, and fun fact, I've actually tried to make this twice in the past month, but with everything going on, there's some interruptions. There was one time I filmed the entire thing and I had a special guest as well. We filmed it, I edited it, and I had to add one clip, which was going to be like an overlay clip, and the memory card corrupted and I lost all the footage, which is unfortunate. And then I tried to film another time, tried to do this leg day Q&A before, and I went to the gym and I forgot my memory card. And you know, these things just happen sometimes. So I feel like today we're gonna finally get one done. And yeah, let's train legs. I wanted to capture my very first leg day back, because my story with leg training is I used to be obsessed with training legs. I used to squat really heavy, and legs were probably my strongest point as well. And I quit because I quit bodybuilding, and I haven't trained legs in 4 years, and I wanted to start again. And so I started about a month ago, and because life's been a little bit hectic, it's been hard to try to get a video together like this. But now everything's got its structure again and I can film this. And so yeah, I'm going to show you how my leg days have been going. I feel like I've made some progress, and muscle memory has definitely come back to my legs. So I'm going to show you how simple it is to build your legs with weights and not calisthenics. Okay, so potions class going down before the gym. We're just going to take some pre-workout, and I've really been liking this pump stuff, the non-stim caffeine-free pre-workout. Still take the caffeine, but only on some days. That way you feel it more as well. I feel like if you just take, you know, the caffeine pre-workout, eventually it just starts wearing away. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and answer the first question of the day. How do I balance skill training with strength training while studying? It's a good question, and obviously time is gonna be an issue. Now, my recommendation would be try to train at least 4 days a week. Split your training sessions apart, you know, try not to do everything in one. But if you only have 3 days to train, try and mix it into those 3 training sessions. So they would be a lot more compound, focus on more compound lifts, which are gonna be your strength movements. And you can kind of use calisthenics for that, because calisthenics is so compound, you're gonna be able to hit a lot of muscle groups at the same time. Don't overtrain, don't think, oh, just because I'm doing maybe 3 or 4 sessions, I have to do 6 or 7 or even 8 exercises. Stick with 4 or 5, do 3 compounds and 2 isolations, focusing on your weak points. That's kind of how you can structure your strength training. And skill training is strength training, you know what I mean? Like, especially when you get to the harder skills, the specific strengthening for those skills is really hard. So, you know, that replaces all your compounds. You know, you don't need to be focusing on bench press or deadlifts. You're going to continue to gain a lot of strength when you're focusing on the specific strengthening for the skills. For example, if you want to do a straddle planche, and if you're doing tuck to straddle planche or L-sit to straddle planche as you're strengthening, that's plenty, and you don't really need to go above and beyond, because you'll wear yourself out. We're just warming up and we're going to answer the next question. Now, there's a lot of questions about how to combine calisthenics and the gym, so I'm gonna try maybe just sum it up in a couple of the questions, but they all have different styles to them. So Christ, or Ian, I guess, he says, how can I do both calisthenics and gym? I started in the gym and lost progress, and I've also been there, you know. I started in the gym, and then when I quit, I lost my progress. So yeah, basically to combine both and to keep it fun, I really recommend, you know, picking some calisthenic skills that you want to work towards, and obviously do those as often as you can, because it's about doing them frequently to try to really get used to them. And then what you're going to want to do is then just finish your sessions with the bodybuilding and the areas that you want to work on. But majority, you want to try save your energy for all the hard calisthenic skills, and that's going to keep it fun. And then towards the end of the workout, when you feel like you just want to get a pump, focus on starting to implement some bodybuilding exercises to your workouts. So the next question is, Marcos has asked, how many years did it take for you to reach that level in calisthenics and bodybuilding? So I started with bodybuilding and I did that for 2.5 years. I built a lot of my physique and a lot of my strength there with the weight stuff. And then when lockdown happened, it really threw me, and I was meant to compete. I was actually getting ready for a bodybuilding competition at the time, and I was 9 weeks out and lockdown happened, and it really threw me off, and I lost my motivation and started getting into some really bad habits, and I completely quit weightlifting. So I lost a lot of my gains, and that was for like 7 or 8 months. And in that time, obviously in my free time, I was watching some videos, you know, and I always knew about calisthenics, but I started to really research about calisthenics, and I decided to fully go calisthenics only, and I did that for 3 years. And now obviously I mix both, and I started mixing both recently to try to improve my physique and to still be able to do the skills. So 3 years calisthenics, and I did 2.5 years worth of bodybuilding in the beginning, but I've only started again now. So that's basically a quick summary of my journey and how I got to this level today. So we're just going to get into the first exercise, which is a seated hamstring curl. I actually prefer the lay-in hamstring curl, but the machine here is a little bit crooked and it doesn't feel right, so I'm going to go for the seated hamstring curl. And what I like to do is I like to do a pre-fatiguing movement, and hamstrings have always been a weak point for me. Not in strength, but in the way they look. My quads overpower my hamstrings, and so I like to warm up the hamstrings, work on them first before I get into any compound lift. And the next question is, Novi asks, at what age did you start calisthenics? And I started calisthenics pretty late. I started calisthenics when I was 21, so yeah, I'm 24 now, and I see kids that are doing it, you know, since they're like 16, and then, you know, by the time they're 21, they're like freaking insane beasts. And some people are even beasts at like 18, even 17, because they started so early on. And I feel like it's a sport you can definitely pick up at a young age. And, you know, even I guess parents can be a little bit skeptical when you want to join a gym, and if you're young, maybe like 14, 15, you know, your parents don't want to let you go. But if you did calisthenics at the park, you just say, Mom, I'm going to the park, and she probably wouldn't think anything of it. And then, yeah, when you're like 18, 19, you'll be a beast. And I kind of wish I started earlier. I really wish that I did. So here, this is just the first set. I'm just going through the motion with really lightweight, just focusing on squeezing, and then I'm going to get into 2 working sets. Okay, I'm going to kill 2 birds in 1 stone here. First question is, only doing calisthenics can build muscle? Yes, of course. I did calisthenics for 3 years only, and I got to this point, but now I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, I'm not getting those results as quick anymore, so let's start implementing bodybuilding to supplement it and to continue to grow. But yeah, it can 100% build muscle. You know, you're doing a lot of compound movements, so you're definitely going to gain size. But you're not going to build muscle just by training. You need to eat, sleep well, you need to hydrate, and that's where you're really going to grow. You actually grow outside of the gym. It's just the stimulus, but you grow in the recovery. And then Tom Gets Good asked, for gaining size, would you recommend cali plus weights and a calorie surplus? Personally, what I would do if you wanted to actually just get bigger, just focus only on the gym for like a good few months. You know, do, you know, multiple training phases, do a couple of, you know, just do a big bulk, or you can do like a lean bulk and just progressively overload your training, continue to eat in that calorie surplus, build all that muscle. You know, let's say 8 months down the line you get pretty big and you know you've gained maybe 6 kilos, maybe even more, you know, maybe you've gained 10 kilos, and you know, you're like, okay, well, I want to start learning calisthenic skills and get a little bit leaner. And so then you go into a small deficit, start learning calisthenics, and as you get better and as you get lighter, both are going to go hand in hand. You'll have the aesthetics and you would have built the size. You'll continue to build your muscle with the calisthenics and you'll get leaner from the diet. And yeah, that's something you could do. But my best piece of advice is just pick one. You know, that's what I did. I wanted to get big first, so I focused on getting big first. Then once I got there, let's learn calisthenics, let's learn calisthenic skills. Okay, good. Now once I got there, now I want to kind of combine them both together, and it takes a long time, so you have to be prepared for that. Focusing on a good squeeze, and then a good controlled negative, and then we're going to pump it in, squeeze, good controlled negative, and I'm also squeezing in the negative because that's where you really can get a good contraction and a good pump. Okay, I've had to go here because the music is really loud by the squat rack, so I feel like you wouldn't be able to hear me as good. And Jay asks, how would I get back to normal after an injury? Now, I've had to do that several times, and the best way to do it is in calisthenics. The beauty of it, it's like a video game. There's so many levels to it. So, you know, once you master one level, you move on to the next. And depending on whatever level you get to when you get injured, you just kind of have to start again, but you're at way more of an advantage with all the muscle memory you'll have. As you rebuild, it's a lot quicker to rebuild than it is to build from scratch. So, you know, it takes a lot longer to build from scratch, but to rebuild something, it never takes as long. You know, the muscle memory snaps right back into place, and as long as you're patient, start really small. And I always have a rule, it's always better to do less and come back the next day, because you want to get into a consistent rate of training. So, you know, you don't want to go all out, balls out on the first day and then not come back tomorrow. You want to do a little bit today, a little bit more tomorrow, a little bit more, and continue to do that. And it's like a snowball effect, and you'll be back to normal before you know it. Omar asked, if you could only work out 4 days a week, what would your workout split be? To be honest with you, most of the time I actually do train just 4 days a week, and they're 4 bigger sessions. So I focus mainly on calisthenics and combinations, but that's obviously based on my level. And if you're trying to learn the skills, then you know you have to structure your workout around attempts and then strengthening for that skill, and then a little bit of conditioning at the end. If you want to mix weights, you can add bodybuilding instead of that conditioning. But that's how you kind of want to structure those sessions, and you want to try to work on your goal as much as possible. So for example, if your goal is to learn a front lever, you want to try to do as many front lever sessions as possible, but you're just going to alternate between the intensities, because you can't train hard every day. Unfortunately, that's not the way it works. You know, it'd be amazing if we could all do that, but you do have to go lighter some days. So, you know, alternating between high and low intensity days, try and train that front lever as much as possible. you know, and you could do a gym day, for example. In my case, I would train planche and handstand push-up combinations 4 times a week, and then maybe just add some weights at the end, because that would suit me. But yeah, you want to try compact in as much as you can into those 4 sessions, but again, don't overdo it, you know, be smart, train smarter, not harder, and just be really consistent with that training split. And that's usually how I train. I usually do only 4 days a week. Okay, now that, you know, we're not by the squat rack, it's going to be so much easier to answer the questions. So the next one is going to be from Samurai Drozd, and he asks, are you from Czech Republic? No, I'm from Slovakia. But yeah, I mean, I can understand Czech and I can speak it as well, because Polish, Czech and Slovakian are all very similar languages. But yeah, I was born in Slovakia and I just moved to the UK at a young age. Okay, so before we answer any more questions, we're gonna load up the calf raise machine and we're gonna do 4 sets here, high reps again, keeping that same tempo where we control on the way down and then a pump on the way up and really squeeze. One thing I found with training calves is if you spend more time at the bottom where the calf really expands, that's a better way for it to grow, because if you try to stay too much on your tippy toes, you're contracting it, yes, but you know, if you even look when, you know, when you lift up the calf, the muscle doesn't expand, it expands at the bottom. So that's where you need to try to spend some time to really try to grow them. So that's a little cheat code right there. This is a good question. It's a little bit deep, but I really like it. So Keramika asks, how did you strengthen your mind, or how did you achieve peace in your heart, if you did? Now, going through a lot of tough times will definitely help you get stronger, but the best piece of advice is it's all about how you react. If something bad happens to you and if you dwell on it and you mourn over it and you get frustrated and then you just avoid even giving it thought or letting it heal, letting it pass, you're always going to be stuck on that moment. And if you learn to deal with it, if you learn to move on and to try to view the positives from it, then that's how you will find peace in your heart, by letting go and moving on. And again, it's all about how you react. If it's only bad because you say it's bad, you know, if something bad happens to me now, I just, you know, it's shit, obviously, but I know now to deal with it so much better. You let go and you just find the solution. You move on and just try find the positives in a bad situation, and that always lets you heal. But never dwell, and also try not to avoid things. Try to really, you know, deal with confrontation, you know, being out there in the open, feeling uncomfortable. It's only going to make you grow, and it's only going to make you the stronger person, and that's how you will become stronger and also have peace in your heart. I think we should check the leg pump after this for sure. It's definitely feeling good. Okay, the next question is, do you think a lot of people have quit bodybuilding and started calisthenics because of influences like you, etc.? I mean, that's very kind to think that I have such a big impact, but I mean, I probably have a really small impact, but nothing major. I think people have quit bodybuilding and started calisthenics because, yeah, calisthenics is more known now, and you know, people are definitely posting about it and you can see it a lot more, and it's very fun. It's also very cool, but I think it's, you know, it depends on the type of person you are. You know, I think bodybuilding is not dying, it's still there, and a lot of people are still getting into bodybuilding and people are going to continue, but I feel like calisthenics is just more known now with all the information that's out there. So yeah, I think people are starting more, but I don't think it's taken away from bodybuilding, and it just depends on the type of person you are. You know, some people care about getting big, so they're going to go to the gym and do bodybuilding, and some people care more about having fun, doing cool skills with calisthenics, so that's why they're going to go down that route. question, but some support, which I really appreciate. Danny said, you're going to take home at the Natural Show. Just cop the 3-in-1 program, keep killing it. My man, I really appreciate you for the support. And yeah, we got to bring it home. Come on, I mean, that's why we're training so hard. But yeah, I feel confident. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, it's just under 3 weeks now, so 20 days. And yeah, I'm feeling ready, you know. I'm literally just waiting for that peak week to start. Then we're gonna just manipulate all the water, all the carbs and the salts, and be ready for show day, get on stage and kill it. But yeah, man, thanks so much for the support, and I really hope you enjoy the program. It's definitely one I've used. I used it for half of this year, especially the first half of the year. That's literally how I train, just basing it to my level. You can adjust the program for it to suit you, as it gives you many options in which you can take. Again, it's just, you know, it's all the advice is there, the structure is there, the training split is there, and there is even 3 trainings in one. That's why it's called 3-in-1. It's 3 separate phases, so as you get better, the phases get harder, but you can always make changes and adjustments, and it also teaches you how. Okay, so I have one more exercise left. It's gonna be the last one, and before I go there, I think the music is pretty loud, so I'm just gonna answer the question here. And the same person asked 2 good questions that kind of have the same answer, so I'm gonna kill 2 birds in 1 stone. So Dead Soul 275 asked how to maintain a healthy diet and how to maintain discipline and start working out. Now, this is a good question, and yes, there's some slight differences, but the overall piece of advice I have is you gotta start small, and you gotta build consistency over a long period of time. You wanna think of it as a snowball. You know, in the beginning, it's gonna be very small, but as the momentum picks up, the snowball is gonna grow bigger and bigger, and that's gonna happen with consistency. And the important thing is to not go all out, balls out straight away. Same with the diet. You don't want to go from 0 to 100, because, you know, after a week of doing that, you're going to hate it, and then you're going to go from 100 right back down to 0. Especially if you're eating bad and you want to eat healthy, you know, it doesn't work like that, because then you're going to hate it, and, you know, 3 months are going to pass, then maybe you'll want to start again. You know, you'll have that moment where you're like, right, it's time to take action. I'm going to start eating healthy again. You try it, and you're going to be in this vicious mental cycle and just hate the process. So you got to start really small, you know, make little changes where you can to be better, and that way over time, you know, as long as you're consistent, you'll be a complete different person. You'll have complete different habits. Same goes with working out and building discipline. You've got to be consistent, and something that's really important with building discipline is learn to say no. You know, learning to say no to things is so important, and putting yourself first will get you so disciplined. Once you do that consistently over a long period of time, of course, once you say no so many times, the very first time you do it, it does become addicting, and then you'll start saying it all the time, and you kind of have to find moderation and also say yes, because you might miss out on some opportunities. But yeah, you got to put yourself first. You got to stay consistent, start small, and just take action each day. You know, don't burn yourself out in that first time. You know, for example, today I'm pretty tired. You know, I'm very depleted. You know, the diet is really killing me, so I don't have the best energy, and I would have liked to do a way bigger leg day. But it's just small. Just get in, get out, answer a few questions, and keep it super light. You know, this isn't one of my hard days, but I'm here and I'm doing the work, and that's gonna make me better over time. And yeah, as long as you stay consistent, you know, imagine if you take one small step every single day for 30 days, that's 30 steps that add into one big one. And then eventually, you know, imagine 6 months time, you won't even be recognizable. So we're gonna finish it up with some leg extensions, just 2 high quality sets of 10 reps. Pumping on the way up, controlling on the way down, really squeezing, and yeah, we'll get this done, answer the last question, and then we'll be out. And the last question is from Alex, and he asks, what's your long-term goal after the competition? Now, long-term goal, it's always the same, but I keep that stuff private because I'm a very big believer in manifestation and dreams coming true and all that. And you know, and if we're going to talk about goals, I'll give you some of my future goals after the competition, of course. And with goals, when you set your mind to something, whatever it is, you can do it, you know, and I'm a prime example of that. You know, when I was skinny and insecure, I wanted to become muscular and become more aesthetic, and I achieved that. When I was a complete beginner in calisthenics and I absolutely sucked, I wanted to learn cool skills and get a lot better, and I did that. I wanted to learn the front lever, I did that. You know, all those cool skills, planche, handstand push-up, it's all possible. I wanted to, you know, grow my social media, and I did that. You know, and that goes with anything. I wanted to work with brands when nobody wanted to work with me. Now I work with amazing brands. I wanted to build my online business and travel the world and do it from wherever I wanted and quit my job, and I definitely did that. You know, and these things, they're just goals, and the only difference between now and achieving the goal is time, you know, and as long as you put your mind to it, you can achieve anything. But my future goals are going to be to grow YouTube to get to 100K, which will be very cool. To get that plaque, that's definitely one of my goals, and to focus more on that. I want to continue to build my social media platforms. I want to continue to grow and scale my business further. And then I would also like to work with one more brand that I really enjoy wearing. So that would also be kind of cool. And then I'm going to be traveling a little bit, visiting some cool locations. And I will probably be doing a marathon or half marathon very soon, because I didn't get my chance when I hurt my foot, and that's a big reason why I'm doing the bodybuilding show, because I was like, I need something this year. And yeah, after, I'm going to focus more on work and social media, and then I'm going to go into some marathon training, and yeah, continue to train calisthenics, continue to do my thing, and keep walking the path that I've been put on this earth to walk. And so that's it for the video. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the leg day. It's quite simple, but very effective, and I shared some tips with you on how you can make your lifts better. So your next training, try out those controlled negatives and then 1 second pump ups and really squeeze, and that way you'll feel much better contractions, resulting into a much better pump. Now, if I didn't answer your question and you did ask, I'm sorry. I tried to pick the best ones that I felt really suited the video. Of course, there was a lot of the same one, which is just how to mix weights and calisthenics and how to get bigger with calisthenics. I feel like I covered those with some of the questions, and I hope you got some value from this video. And if you do want to see a video that I haven't made yet, let me know in the comments below with any content suggestions. But the next one I'm going to make is probably going to be a good one, and it's been suggested a couple of times. So that's what I got planned for the next one. I'll see you there. That's everything from me. Hope you have a good one, and ciao.